Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. Today I want to talk to you about what it takes to find happiness. Recently I was reading Mark Nepo's book, The Book of Awakening. I opened up a passage near the end of the book, and the name of the passage was The Treasure at Our Feet, and it starts with this quote: "It is not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it is not possible to find it elsewhere." Mark Nepo then writes, "If forced to name them, the biggest obstacles to peace are ourselves and the world. Often en route to the truth of my soul, I get stuck in myself or lost in the world, or the reverse. Still we carry the treasured essence within. It is always with us, very near though it may seem far, and there is no place else to find the treasure but underneath our agitation. It waits there like gold on the bottom of a shallow lake, and though we stand in the water, the treasure at our feet, the stirring of our reflection keeps us from seeing. More often than not, I need to stop moving and thinking and fixing, and simply reach within myself. So run if you like, for it will all come with you. Or think and reason as many times you must, for your heart will outlast the ripples of your thought. Or blame the things of this world if you need to, for the things you blame will eventually disappear. Then you and I will still be left with ourselves and the world and the treasure at our feet." I know I usually give an exercise on this podcast, but today I'm going to give you the one that Mark Nepo provides in his book. Said to yourself, and if there is something you are running from, inhale and let it catch up with you. Just that alone, think about that. We're always looking for certainty. We're always looking for something to fill us up because there's something that's bothering us. There's something that's not sitting within ourselves that's peaceful. But what if we just stop and we let it catch up to us? Sit quietly. And if there's something you are trying to reason away, exhale and let it touch you. Think about that. Let what's bothering you, what's irritating you, let it be with you instead of running to the next thing. Be still, and as you breathe, let the forces of the world touch you and move on by. Now reach if you can with your breath for the treasure waiting within. It's so powerful to think that we're running so fast to not deal with things, but we're really running away from ourselves. And if these things that we think will ruin us or demolish us or devastate us, if we just sit still and we face them and we allow them, we stop running, we stop thinking, and we allow those things to touch us, so much dissolves because our heart is stronger than our thoughts. Our hearts are stronger than the things that we experience. The love, the human potential, and the possibilities have more vibrance than any thought we could possibly have. And to be honest, before this pandemic happened, I was doing my spiritual work, but I was running, hoping that I could create this new life for myself, because the life I had since my husband left me was gone. It was over. And the pandemic just forced me to stop. But what it really did is it forced me to look for the treasure, because I wasn't really running anywhere. I was avoiding it. I was thinking if I can create a new life, then I won't have to suffer for the pain of the loss of the old one. But as I let it touch me, that's when I began to see myself. As I let it touch me, the pain and the grief and whatever I was running from, that's when it started to dissolve. And that's where my heart started to heal and my thoughts didn't own me. And that's where I created a new beginning. And I know it's frightening sometimes because we don't want to let the thing that frightens us the most touch us. We don't want to let it in. But if we don't allow it to touch us, we will be a victim of it our whole lives. We will be chased by our fears our entire life. Our blame, agitation, fear, anxiety. And we think if we run quick enough and we think enough, we will be protecting ourselves. But as I learned 2.5 years ago, it's the thing you don't expect that knocks you off your feet. But if you're so connected with your heart and you're sitting with your treasure, you will use that to spin that into gold. And the gold is when our hearts open and we see ourselves and we process our feelings, and we process our emotions, and we choose love and we choose peace and we choose to face life. And that's when we let happiness in. And that's when we cultivate that inner joy, that inner happiness, that inner glow. Because we live life from the inside out and not the opposite. If we need the outside world to be a certain way, to feel the joy, to feel the blessings, to feel the maybe, to feel the hope, our whole lives will be one big roller coaster ride, up and down and up and down. But if we go moment to moment and live from our heart and allow the things that scare us to touch us so we could process it, we could be with it, we could become friends with it, it won't own us. And then all the other things in us, our innate ability to be happy and joyful and peaceful and manifest and create and have abundance, will be the loudest within ourselves. We will hear the song of our truth and the song of hope, and we won't be so scared of everything that we don't know. Again, Mark Nepo writes, center yourself, and if there is something you are running from, inhale and let it catch up with you. Sit quietly, and if there's something you are trying to reason away, exhale and let it touch you. Be still, and as you breathe, let the forces of the world touch you and move on by. Now reach if you can with your breath for the treasure waiting within. There is something so liberating to stop running, to stop thinking if we move quick enough, if we think enough, that thing we fear won't catch us. But if we're afraid, it already has us. If we can't face what life has to offer us in the moment, then we're also turning away from all those blessings. It is in our stillness, and it is facing what is in front of us that's the opening to all that is possible in our lives. But we must let it all touch us. Because when it does, so much dissolves. So much of our fear is not real. So much of our worry is not real because it's based on a future projection, which is our story, not life's story, our story. And we have no idea what's going to happen next in life. And when we stop running from that thing we fear, we become present. And when we become present, we become our most powerful selves. We become the creator of the future, the creator of the dream, the creator of all the things that we desire in our lives. As Mark said, it's not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it's not possible to find it elsewhere. Right after my husband left, I looked under every rock, every place, to see where I can be to find happiness again. But all we do is create the same life and the same thing, and we never really get to truly know ourselves, to crack that heart open and live that authentic, deep life. Even if we feel the pain, that pain can pass. That pain could touch something so deep within us that we could heal, or at least we could feel what it is to be alive. But when we're always running from the agitation or the fear or the anger, we're not living, we're just fearing. And we think that we're going to outwit and outlast those scary things we think of at night, but we don't realize that when it touches us and we're still enough, then we're home. And we don't have to be anything other than who we truly are. And that is when our greatness truly shines through. There's a treasure that resides in each of us, but we have to be willing to sit still enough to feel it and not let the world around us dim our light. Whatever is going on in your life right now, you have what it takes to face it. You have what it takes to stand in this moment and make the best choice for yourself. You have what it takes to stand in the moment and look towards the future with hope, because you have maybe. You have a divine right to be here. You have beautiful gifts and beautiful abilities. If you just find that treasure within, and always remember, maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you could subscribe and leave a comment.